Welcome, Nick Nack's Corner. I'm Nick, wearing my wizard robe, and I'm in the corner. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the Fall of Gondolin. Now, I went through this in about 3 days. It's because there's not really a lot there. 300 pages. A lot of it is Christopher Tolkien talking. Of course, this is by J.R.R. Tolkien, as you can see, my favorite author. I started at the end of the series because these two should be in the first and then second. And I just thought they were all standalones, but apparently Christopher had them going in a certain order. I read Fall of Gondolin first, so my bad. This is sort of about the end of the Elder Days, the end of the First Age, where it's Ulmo versus Morgoth, and the war is on between gods, essentially. Ulmo is a god of the ocean. I believe he's right there on the back of the book. And he is the main opposer to Morgoth, who is Sauron's first master, and then until he got put into the Dark Void. I just thought it was really cool because we had Balrogs, dragons, and orcs in it, which was really neat. But I found Christopher's editing got in the way of the storytelling sometimes, so it wasn't as enjoyable as I like my Tolkien to be, but it was still Tolkien. I love Middle-earth. It's fantastic. Ulmo gets help from the Nolodoran elves from the First Age, and they go to war, basically the War of Wrath against Morgoth. We also get to meet some elves, and this is where they get to choose whether they're going to be mortal or immortal. And this is also where Elrond is born, and his brother, the half-elvens. Elrond chooses the immortal elf side, and his brother chooses just a long life. Aragorn's line is from Elrond's brother. While I'm not the biggest fan of Christopher Tolkien's editing, his father is a master of myth, and his father did a fantastic job at creating the legends and myths that we get here, because this is alternate history to his own world. It's not even our history. He created his own little histories and myths and legends that's existed for thousands of years. The voice of the author is definitely fantastic. Tolkien is just amazing. I love his works, and I am just a huge fan, and he's so descriptive without being dry. I remember he was explaining like the landscape at one point in this book, and it went on for like 2 pages, and I was just like, wow, that's Tolkien for you. But it was great. I love that sort of stuff. Because in fantasy, you got to be kind of told what you're looking at. It's a different world, right? So there's lots of different things that can happen. Did Tolkien get to achieve his goal here? I don't think J.R.R. Tolkien got to achieve his goal. I think he was working pretty hard on these stories as standalone stories that he never completed. And I think he's not only an author, but he's a professor, right? So a lot of his time was spent translating and like linguistics and stuff like that. And then he also had time on top of that to have a family and to write books. And so while he was writing these books, these stories, it didn't end up being very much, and unfortunately got left in a cupboard until long after his passing. We do get little tidbits of the story inside the Silmarillion, because it all takes place in the First Age, of course. And you'll no doubt heard of some of these parts of the stories in the Silmarillion, but this is like all extended upon what he wrote for the Silmarillion, which I think is fantastic. And I'm just happy that Tolkien had a bunch of stuff laying around in Middle-earth that never got published, and now we get to enjoy it to its full extent. Is this for you? Do you like Tolkien? If you do, then this is for you. If you don't, I would say probably move on, because it takes a little bit of wanting to learn the languages that's in there, some of the names. I know I butchered names all throughout this video, I'm sure of it. And you know, it's fantastic. Also, one of the coolest things in this book here is Alan Lee gets to do some artwork in here. And Alan Lee was the artist on the movies, and each book has art illustrations by him, which is fantastic, and I love that because it's just more stuff to see. Also, if you haven't read any of Tolkien's stuff and you're thinking you might want to get into this, I would start with probably The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, just because it's a little bit more rounded out, more polished, better storytelling, just as it is. These books here have edits in them, so let me see if I can find something. Ooh, look at that art. Isn't that pretty? Christopher just pops in every once in a while, as you can see here, and there'll be like little paragraphs where he pops in the middle of storytelling, and it just disrupts the story, and that's my only really real grievance with that. But I love the history, so it's fantastic. And I think these books are gifts to the Tolkien community, because we wouldn't have had them otherwise if it wasn't for Christopher doing it, and I'm quite happy with that. I have to finish Children of Huron and Beren and Luthien, which will be coming up in the near future, because I would like to see what's going on in them. And also, I have a friend of mine named Erin. She's gonna sit down and do Tolkien talk with me on these 3 books once we're finished them. She also gave me Terry Pratchett's The Color of Magic, the first book in the Discworld series. I am quite interested to see what that's about. I've heard a lot about the Discworld series. I didn't touch any of it, but I am more than willing to check it out and get into it a little bit more. And as for everything else, I think that covers the book all right. I was quite happy with some of the storytelling in it. Other parts of it I was a little but that's only because of the way it's edited together. There's a part here where Glorfindel, I believe it is fighting the Balrog, and that's just so cool, because like we get to see the one Balrog in Lord of the Rings, we get to see the one dragon in The Hobbit, but Morgoth has like armies of dragons and Balrogs and creatures, and it was very much a war of the gods in the first century of this first age of the world. Anyway, folks, that'll be all for me today, so please like and subscribe. It helps out a lot. Share the video around with people. Whoever is a Tolkien fan, just send it right on out to them. My Goodreads, Tumblr, and Instagram will be down below, and that'll be everything for today, guys. Also, question for you: what is your favorite book and why? Put it in my comments below, and maybe I'll pick it up and read it and do a review for you. Have a great day, guys. Bye.